In this video, we're going to be using exercise 4-1 to illustrate how to do the journal entries in a process costing system. In transaction A, we are removing the raw materials from the storeroom and putting them into production, but those raw materials are going to two different departments. When raw materials leave the storeroom, we credit raw materials. We'll credit the raw materials for the full amount of $33,000. That'll be divided up between two departments: the molding department, which received $28,000 of raw materials, and the firing department, which received $5,000 of raw materials. You will debit work in process when the work becomes in process. You will credit the raw materials when the raw materials leave the storeroom. In transaction B, we're going to be recording the direct labor costs that were incurred. The direct labor costs will be credited to an account called wages payable for the full amount of $23,000. That $23,000 is going to be divided up amongst two departments: the work in process for the molding department and the work in process for the firing department, at $18,000 and $5,000 respectively. In transaction C, we're going to be recording the application of the manufacturing overhead. The total manufacturing overhead that needs to be applied is the $61,000, so you will credit manufacturing overhead for the $61,000, and you will debit work in process for the molding department for their share, which is $24,000, and you will debit work in process for the firing department for their share, which is $37,000. In transaction D, we're going to record the transfer from the molding department to the firing department. These are units that are complete as far as the molding department is concerned. When they leave the molding department, we credit work in process for the molding department for the $67,000, and when they enter the firing department, we debit work in process for the firing department for $67,000. When these goods are finished, they will leave the firing department, so we will credit work in process for the firing department for the $108,000, and we will debit finished goods. As they enter our finished goods inventory in the warehouse, we will debit finished goods for the $108,000. When these goods are then sold, we will credit finished goods for $106,000 as they leave our warehouse, and we have incurred a cost of goods sold equal to the $106,000.